One Kenya Alliance Party. Like I said, the rest of the reasons will be contained in a much longer decision. But we do not find that a basis has been laid for us to introduce Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Alliance Party into these proceedings. Now, the second question, the second issue that we have noted is that the appointment of this tribunal was publicized, and we've been aware of its existence. A number of witnesses, in fact, majority of witnesses have testified. We were told yesterday that we were only left with 2 witnesses. The choice to come into the proceedings now, when we've been aware of the existence of this tribunal, and noting that the commission to us, the mandate that was given to us, asked, among other things, that we be expeditious in the question whether or not to recommend the removal of the commissioner. So, Mr. Omari, with respect, we say that we cannot sanction your party's participation into these proceedings. So I wish you well. Thank you.
Chair, thank you very much. Probably in light of the directions issued by the chair, we shall be seeking for the proceedings with a view of challenging the decision of the tribunal on the grounds that we shall take instructions from our clients and see to it that fair administrative action is done and is also seen to be done. But for now, we respect the decision, we'll abide by it, but we shall be, if kindly, be facilitated with the proceedings and the ruling for us to take instructions on the way forward. Thank you very much.
Yes, we shall make great effort to make sure that you are availed proceedings and the decision in its length as soon as possible, so that you can take whatever appropriate action that you seek to do. Thank you very much.
Much obliged.
Many thanks, Chair and members. With your permission, we are willing to call Ms. Wafula Chebukati as our next witness.
Chairman, before maybe Peter calls the next witness, I wanted to raise an issue on which arose from yesterday's evidence of the 2 commissioners, Bolu and Gulie. Mr. Chairman, if you look at the original petitions, the allegations the foundation basically of the reliefs they sought against my client are removal for the impeachment. They were just talking generally about the press conference at Serena, and maybe they, and I've never had an issue with those grounds as they are. But the evidence of Gulie and Bolu yesterday, Bolu yesterday, took a new tangent. If you look at the tenor of the evidence, they were saying that my client basically wanted to deny President William Ruto the presidency. And it creates a new ground. Before, there were no such grounds in the 4 petitions filed in the National Assembly. But the evidence and the line of cross-examination by Peter Munge yesterday introduced a new angle, which which forces me to raise the issue of maybe actual or apparent bias by the tribunal in view of what was raised yesterday. And I need to raise the issue of bias on how it is, just for a few minutes. Mr. Chairman, one of the doctrines of any tribunal is the doctrine, of course, of Nemo Judex in Causa Sua. A tribunal must be impartial in its sitting. Article 51 also gives my client the right that she ought to appear before a tribunal that's impartial. But now, once this angle was introduced yesterday, it endangers the liberty of my client. And I want to raise at this early opportunity. The Gazette noticed that the established tribunal, Mr. Chairman, appointed Caroline Kamen, and she's your vice, Emmanuel Gibet as the joint secretary, and who is considered, Mr. Chairman, is the commissioners and the joint secretary and the legal counsel is one and the same. It's not like a normal court where the prosecutor is independent body. But the tribunal in its setting is that the commissioner, the commissioners, the joint secretary, and the legal counsel is one and the same. They work together. And that's the danger now, where it lies. Mr. Chairman, Caroline commended Daudu is actually my good friend. And she can tell you that when she was running to be the vice president of LSK, I supported her and the president Nelson Avi, and they won, and they remain my good friends. But during the Supreme Court decision, Caroline commended Daudi acted for the president. And she was part of the legal team. And I know and I'm aware that my friend also, Linda Kiome, whom I never met before, but we've worked together before, ran for she was the deputy, she was running to be the deputy governor for Meru in a UDA ticket. Never met Kibet before until this tribunal. But his business partner, Professor Gidure Kindiki, is my friend. When Gidure wanted to begin practice, legal practice from being a professor in the university, he actually came to see me and we had a discussion, and I assisted him in setting up his law firm. So he's been my friend. But I'd never met, and Kibet is a joint secretary in this tribunal. And the office of the president plays a very crucial role in this tribunal. He's the one that facilitated the setting up of this tribunal, and I know of my knowledge, that's the one that's still financing the tribunal. Lastly, my friend Peter Munge, whom I've known forever since I began practice, is a partner of my classmate, Honorable Murio, who is the MP for Gatron Transactions. Murio, other than being the UDA MP for Gatanga, is a legal secretary of UDA. And he was also part of the legal team for the president in the Supreme Court. Peter comes from that law firm. So my issue, Mr. Chairman, seeking your guidance, I'm not in the conscience and whether they will give my client impartial hearing and justice, that they will not be biased. Some could be actually biased, like my friend Caroline Dawoodi, because she was part of the legal team. But from Linda, Peter, and Emmanuel, it could be apparent bias, because they were directly associated with UDA. Mr. Chairman, Julius Caesar everyone knows Julius Caesar. He's one of the greatest rulers ever in history. his wife Pompey, there were rumors in Rome that his wife was sleeping with a nobleman. There was no evidence. But Julius Caesar divorced his wife because he said the emperor's wife must be above suspicion. So I'm asking Mr. Chairman that if there is suspicion by the public that Ms. Daudi, Linda, Peter, Emmanuel, because they are decided to stop President William Ruto from being president, there is a great danger, Mr. Chairman. I seek your guidance and your directions.
Listen to you. One, you are saying that even as you say the many things you're saying, first of all is evidence which shouldn't be coming from you. You can swear an affidavit because you're saying you have personal knowledge of these things. And so ideally, one should have seen an application for recusal, but you are saying, I've just listened to you, you don't want recusal, but you're asking that people should just examine their conscience generally. So we leave it at examining conscience. But I think Mr. Donald, either you want recusal or you don't want. Because what would be the reason of saying the things that you are saying? But secondly, what point, and I've just been listening to you, you said you know Munge, you say you know Linda, you say you know Kamende, you know all these people. At what point does it start appearing to you that there's bias? Now, but more important, and I've just told Dunstan, you know, the evidence that is tendered here, if it doesn't relate to petitions that were filed and the grounds in the petitions, it's just that, isn't it? Because we are limited in our dealing with the questions at hand on what is it that was complained against your client and whether those complaints have been substantiated with the other. You to be saying, examine your conscience. You don't represent Kenyans. You represent a client, a specific client who has a name. So that we can make progress, I will ask that we proceed. But your point has been made, Council.
Mr. Chairman, you asked me when I got to know. As I said, I
don't want us to get into that discussion. I was just saying.
But because you're asking me,
I wasn't asking because I want. It's rhetorical. Okay. I want us to proceed.
Thank you, Chair. We also taken aback by, political statements at times made for purpose of headline tomorrow, but we are ready with our witness. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, they're not political statements. I'm saying they are not political statements. They arose from yesterday's evidence. So,
Evidence, because the evidence was being tendered in your presence. You could simply have said, stop that evidence. You let it come through, and then now, a day later, you are saying, let's go back to that evidence. If you want it expunged from record, you'll make an appropriate application in that regard. Thank you. Thank you.
I swear by the Almighty God that the evidence I will give before this tribunal shall be the truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Mr. Chair and members, our last witness is Mr. Fuller Chebukati, the immediate former chair of IEBC. And for the record, there are 3 lawyers who are present, Mr. Eric Gumbo, Mahat Somane, and Moses Kipkogei, who are watching brief. Kindly, sir, could you kindly introduce yourself, your full names, and up to, I think, few days ago, what was your position in IBC?
Yeah, thank you. Chairman, as chairperson on the by Gazette notice dated 18th January 2017, and assumed office on the 20th of January 2017 after swearing in. And my assignment as chairperson ended on the 18th of January this year.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Fuller, in terms of your profession, kindly explain your profession prior to being chair of IBC, what you've been doing for a living.
Yes, I'm a lawyer by profession, having qualified and signed the role of advocate on the 17th of November 1986. And thereafter, I practiced law for a period of about 30 years before joining the...
Right, and so you are law of about 37 years of practice.
Of 36 practicing certificates.
36 years, thank you. Practicing certificate, thank you very much.
36 years, yeah.
Now, you remember swearing a statement rather before this tribunal, and you can kindly take us in page 1 under witness statements. Page number 1.
Yes, I saw a statement dated 13th December 2022 for purpose of filing this tribunal.
Right, and that statement, I want to go through it just very briefly. The time you was commissioned?
Yes, I was still in the commission as a chairperson.
As a time you were still the chairperson?
Yes.
And looking at your statement, you annexed a letter, page number 2. Can you kindly explain so that it's clear you've not just come to attack mode to fellow former commissioners?
Yes, I received a letter from yourself requesting I and other commissioners from the IAB 22. Do I read the letter?
It's page number 2, the same document. Just look.
Yes.
Yes, to see that that's your response.
This is my response.
Very well. And let's go back to your statement, sir. I'm looking at paragraph 4. You said you would rely on 3 affidavits. What are those 3 affidavits there?
The 3 affidavits I said I rely on is the one, number 1, the one sworn on 26th August 2022, 5 of 2022.
Now, as you answer, you look at the big volume, Mr. Chair and members, volume 4, page number 202. Confirm that is is the affidavit. Starts at page 202 and it goes all the way to 228 before the annexures. Sorry, it's the Raila case.
Yes, this is the affidavit E005 of 22.
This is the affidavit in A005.
Yes.
This is the case of the
The Raila Odinga and Mother Wangari Karua
yes.
and IBC.
Now we go to page 380. Same affidavit, you saw it on which day? That's beneath paragraph 117.
380, my
3, after paragraph 117 beneath it, signed.
yes, the date is 26th day of August 2022.
Yes. Now, let's go back to your statement, the second affidavit.
The second affidavit sworn on 27th August 2022 and filed, that's the same date, being presidential election petition number E002 of 2022.
One, all the way to page number 34. Confirm that that is the affidavit.
Yes, this is the affidavit filed in that matter E002.
Right, the third affidavit.
This is the one sworn on 27th August 2022 and filed before the Supreme Court on the same date, that is the 27th of August in 3 of 20.
Look at page 202. 202, and there is the cover page. 203 is the first page of the affidavit.
Yes.
It's deponed on page 227. That is the affidavit.
This is the affidavit.
Thank you. Now, you're aware that the pet matter was concluded before the dispute that was before the Supreme Court was concluded?
Yes, I'm aware.
And you are no longer chairman?
Yes, I exited.
You exited?
Yes.
After good service, thank you. Now, do the facts change or do you rely on the same facts?
Exactly as stated in the affidavit.
And in this matter, your way is different from the dispute before Supreme Court?
Yes, I'm aware.
Thank you very much. Now, you said that you are appointed as commissioners persons to a specific article of the Constitution? You have the Constitution?
No, I don't know.
The IBC is constituted persons to Article 88.
And Article 88 of the Constitution, 88.4 is what constitutes.
And as commissioners, are you constitution office holders or what?
Yes, we are constitution office holders among the Chapter 15 commissions.
Right.
Yes.
Now, Article 248, 249, 250. Does that apply to IBC?
Article 249 applies to the IEBC.
And Article 250?
Yes.
And Article 250, Sub-Article 9, it says, and I'll read, A member of a commission or holder of an independent office is not liable for anything, and I emphasize, done in good faith in the performance of a function of a function of office. You are aware of that. You are aware then that Article 259 is the basis under which this tribunal was constituted and appointed?
Yes, I'm aware.
Now, are you, as commissioners, liable for acts?
Sorry, repeat the question.
I've read Article 259.
Yes.
What of acts done not in good faith?
Well, and then one has to take responsibility for their actions. If you're acting in bad faith against your oath of office, then you take responsibility.
Personal responsibility?
Sorry?
You take personal responsibility?
Yes.
Very well. Now, I want to go through the slowly, and we'll go to the big bundle, volume 4, and I'll deal with the first affidavit, the one of Youth Advocacy Africa and Peter Kurika. Now, you are aware of
I will, of course, listen to the petitions. I perused them briefly, and I'm aware of some of the issues.
some of the issues.
It may not be all, yeah.
And in this affidavit, if I'm correct, you talked about the conduct of elections, the processes that led to, and the system and all that relates to the elections.
That's correct.
Right. And I will then affidavit. Halif,
Yes, I'm there.
you're there. It starts on page 203. Now, if you look at that affidavit, talked about procurement,
Yes,
not related to the tribunal. Page 209, you talk about voter registration.
yes,
Page 210, you talk about voter education.
yes,
Page 211, you talk about technology.
yes,
Page 211 to 212, you talk about result path verification and tally.
yes.
Now, all through until around paragraph 64, Palm will explain that.
As in relation to all these processes
Yes.
that happened up to and after, up to election,
Yes.
yes, there was no disjointed commission. We worked as a commission following the law and the procedures laid down.
And start seeing challenges amongst or within the commission.
Yes,
Rule 71 on the date of the 15th of August 2022.
yeah.
As it.
As a commission, we were, of course, appointed from 2017. The team chair and 6 commissioners. 4 of them resigned, and we were 3 who then we proceeded to work, and we were joined by 4 commissioners on the 2nd of September 2021. And of course, when they came in, we brought them up to speed, and we worked very well. The relationship was good. I ran an open door policy as a chair, and any commissioner had an issue, including Commissioner Masit, so there were no problems.
Thank you. Yes. I believe let's tackle them in the affidavit in the case of Raila Odinga and Mother Karua, because there you've expounded them further. So let's go to the third affidavit. And we'll deal in this affidavit for quite a while. Use introduction, paragraph 1 and 2, and you talked about your position in paragraph 2. Clarify that position.
Yes, in paragraph 2, I state that in my capacity as chairperson of the commission, I was the returning officer for presidential elections held on the 9th of August 2022.
And notice,
yes,
in respect to that, was presidential returning officer.
I think it's more of the role of a returning officer. Presidential is just one election, but we have other returning officers running all the 6 elections we carry on. Returning officer's job is to ensure that all the processes are relating to elections, from nomination up to nomination of candidates.
On the presidential returning officer.
Yes.
So what was your role there? Presidential returning officer.
Distinct roles involved nomination of candidates, issuing candidates certificates of enable them contest in the elections, as well as final declaration of results.
And final declaration of results.
Yes.
Could there be more than one returning officer for the presidential elections?
The requirement, and it's to be a recipe for chaos if that were the case.
And in this case,
yes,
being the returning officer for the presidential elections, were you working in?
Yes, I worked very closely with the commission being
paragraph 12 of that affidavit. Right, and a commission, you've confirmed that you are constitutional office holders.
Yes, we were until when we exited office.
And there are specific expectations for you as when you are constitutional office holders.
Yes.
Right, and you are aware that the removal is pursuant to Article 259, 251 of the Constitution.
Yes.
Now, I want us to go briefly on the grounds that were set out in the affidavits and were reiterated in to part 3 of the affidavit from paragraph 36. That's a affidavit.
Okay.
an emphasis is only on the presidential elections. Now, 36 to 38, you are talking about what here?
In 36, we are saying the presidential election results were relayed and transmitted to the National Tallying Center as outlined in the results path published by the Commission pursuant to Section 39 and Regulation 87.
This, you're talking about the issue of transmission all the way to paragraph 38.
Yes.
Now, when all this was on the issue of transmission, was there any dispute amongst the commissioners?
On the issue of transmission,
Yes.
there was no dispute. This results path was approved by the Commission.
Yes.
I remember in a plenary meeting we had somewhere in Mombasa.
Yes.
And it was published.
It was published?
Yes, and transmission then went on without any problem. And
went on until which day?
Well, transmission of Form 34As commenced immediately after polling and counting. And I think within the 48 hours after the 9th of August, we had almost 99.8 transmission.
99.8%?
Yeah, 99.98% transmission of Form 34As happened within 48 hours from polling and counting.
Was there any breaches of the law in respect to the issue of transmission? Irene Masit?
Not that I'm aware of.
Right. We move, sir, to part 4, which starts at paragraph 39. And you then introduce a place called Bomas of Kenya. Kindly tell us what was Bomas of Kenya? Was it ever gazetted and why?
Yes, towers don't have sufficient space, but a presidential election being a huge operation, the Commission procured the Bomas of Kenya as a tallying center. And after the procurement, then we officially gazetted it as a national tallying center.
It's a national tallying center.
Yes.
And what's the purpose and why was it gazetted as a national tallying center?
It required and running to all the other 5 elections, we normally gazette tallying centers. So that candidates and the interested persons know where the tallying will take place. It's a legal requirement. And that's why we gazetted it.
All right.
Yes.
And the tallying is done. What beyond tallying, is any other things done at the national NTC?
Yes, it's an operation. We talk of verification, tallying of results, and final declaration of the winner of that election, or final declaration of results. All those activities happen at national tallying centers, but they can't happen in isolation. Of course, it's a whole operation, and there are many people, there are many players, so a lot of other activities happen.
We'll hear mention of Nairobi Serena Hotel and other places. I believe you have only one national tallying center.
The national tallying center was at Bomas of Kenya, and there's no other national tallying center for purpose of
2022 general elections. Now, we go to the next point. You talk about what you did to enhance transparency, and this you start at paragraph 42, and the issue of verification, I can bet it will come up in cross-examination, and I need you say you did it in an open way, and I would want you to explain the processes done in verification, and how you managed it as the chairman of the IEBC.
Yes, first, The result path is, as per the Gazette notice, laid out in paragraph 37, which is covers, runs up to paragraph, yes, the entire paragraph 37.
Yes.
Would you like me to go through it?
Just very briefly, so
Yes.
that we flow together.
So, election takes place at the constituencies and at the polling stations